my name's Rachel and welcome back to my channel. So in today's video, I will be talking you through 5 investments that I currently hold that are managed by Baillie Gifford. So I first invested in a Baillie Gifford fund back in 2018, and I have been so pleased with the performance of my Baillie Gifford investments that I wanted to share with you the 5 that I'm currently invested in, their performance for me at present, their 3-year annualized returns, and their fees as well, because they might be worth going away and having a look at for yourself. There's so much brilliant information out there at the moment about investing in ETFs and index trackers, but my first investments were made in actively managed funds, which I think goes a little bit against the trend. But the actively managed Baillie Gifford funds that I am invested in have beaten the market. They've performed exceptionally well for me. I really like the company's ethos as a whole, and I'm going to continue staying invested in them for the long term because they have seen some phenomenal growth that I just simply wouldn't have seen had I invested in the equivalent index. Baillie Gifford's investment process focuses on the long-term ownership and growth of businesses. So I'm in no way affiliated with Baillie Gifford, just to mention that, but I do want to talk to you about these investments today because I think they're too good to ignore, to be perfectly honest. I'll be talking you through the 3 investment funds that I have with Baillie Gifford, and then I have 2 investment trusts with Baillie Gifford, and that at the moment is the sum total of my Baillie Gifford investments. So first of all, I wanted to talk to you about 2 of their investment trusts, and the reason I'm talking to you about the trust first is because they have the highest 3-year annualized returns, so I thought nothing would get you excited like some good, strong returns. So the Scottish Mortgage Investment Trust is the first investment that I'm going to talk to you about. So this trust is seen as Baillie Gifford's flagship investment trust. Its 3-year annualized returns are 47.08%, and that is compared to the benchmark index, which is the FTSE All World, of 15.83%. So huge 3-year annualized returns. The ongoing charge for this investment is 0.34%, and then in my own personal portfolio, it is up 18.52% for me. So I have 2 different investment ISAs, one with Barclays Smart Investor and one with Fidelity. So I've pulled all of the information together on this to talk to you about my percentage gains. Now, obviously, with 3-year annualized returns of 47.08%, you might be wondering why my percentage gains are only 18.52%. So I thought I would clear that up. Basically, we did some big renovations to our house and our kitchen and added a lot to what was quite a small house. Still is quite a small house. But we did big renovations and we moved back in February, March time of this year. So a lot of my investments were spent on renovating the house as well as a remortgage as well. But that is why I've had to kind of start again really with a lot of my investments. So that is why that investment value is sitting at 18.52%. Anyway, enough about me and back on to the next trust. So the next trust I want to talk to you about is the Pacific Horizon Investment Trust. This is another Baillie Gifford trust. Its 3-year annualized returns are 43.26%. And that is versus the Morningstar Asia Pacific, which has got 3-year annualized returns of 8.43%. So it has done really, really well despite what the markets have been doing in Asia recently. So it's made up of 63.52% Asia emerging, 30.21% Asia developed, and then Australasia, then Europe emerging, just 1.46%. It has done very, very well. As you can see, it's beaten its index as well by quite a considerable amount. But it's worth noting that obviously this trust is focused on that Asia area, whereas the Scottish Mortgage Investment Trust is a global trust. So if you were looking to choose a trust that gives you global exposure, then potentially the Scottish Mortgage Investment Trust would be a better choice for you, but please go away and do your own research. Okay, moving on now to the 3 Baillie Gifford funds that I'm invested in. The first one will come as no surprise. It is the Baillie Gifford American Fund. I have a separate video on this, which I will link as well. And this is probably my largest holding at the moment in my whole portfolio. It had an incredible year from September 19 to September 2020 when it went up over 100% in a year, which is huge. Its 3-year annualized returns are sitting at 41.8% and its ongoing charge is 0.51%. In my own personal portfolio, as I said, I had to sell some of these investments, which was actually great timing because I sold a lot of them when they were up quite heavily, which was lovely. But the holding that I have of the Baillie Gifford American Fund is currently up 29.34%. So those 3-year returns of 41.8% are versus the US large cap benchmark, which went up 24.07%. Now moving on to a Baillie Gifford fund that I probably haven't talked about as much as I have the others. I hold the Baillie Gifford Long-Term Global Growth Fund. This has 3-year annualized returns of over 40% again, so 40.69%, which is phenomenal, and that is going up against the global large cap, which has gone up 19.38% as 3-year annualized returns. The ongoing charge for this is 0.64%, which is really good. I think a lot of the time when people talk about actively managed funds not being able to beat the market and also them talking about them having high fees, there's a lot of talk about these actively managed funds that have fees of over 1%. All of the trusts and funds I've included in this video have fees that are lower than 1%. And I feel that for me personally, with the fantastic gains that I have seen from these investments, I'm more than happy to pay a slightly higher fee than I would with an index tracker or an ETF. So as I said, I kind of had to start again with my portfolio in February. So this is currently sitting at up 9.56% for me. Moving on now to my third and final fund that I want to include in this video, and it is the Baillie Gifford Positive Change Fund. What really struck me about this fund, to be perfectly honest, to start with, was not its huge gains over the last few years, which also did strike me, if I'm honest. It was the fact that Baillie Gifford Positive Change tries to focus on investing in companies that are going to have a positive impact and positive change on the world around us, which I think is so important. The 3-year annualized returns for this fund are 37.25%, and that is versus, again, the global large cap of 19.38%. So again, another fund here that has managed to beat the market, has had exceptional growth. Its ongoing charge is great at 0.53%. And currently in my portfolio, the gains are showing as 14.51%. So I suppose those are my top 5 Baillie Gifford investments at the moment, simply because they're the 5 that I'm currently holding. I've gone away and done my research and thought these are the ones that I want to hold on to. I hold all of these investments in investment ISAs because it is the most tax efficient way of investing. Anyway, I really hope you found this video interesting. I'd be interested to hear what you think of the Baillie Gifford investments down below. Are you invested in any of them? Do the fees put you off? Do you still prefer to invest in ETFs and index funds? Anyway, thank you so very much for taking the time to watch and have a lovely day. Bye bye.